What if I told you that one US state saw an increase of almost 200 Earth caches in a single year, while another one actually lost one? In this video, I'm going to show you the Earth cache numbers and writing trends for the US and Canada in 2025. I'll show you the areas that just exploded in numbers and those that didn't. And I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about some of the geocachers that made an impact in 2025 as well. Now, one thing you have to understand about the numbers is that they're always in motion. What I'm going to show you is merely the snapshot taken New Year's Day. With that, let's get into the numbers. As of midnight, 31 December 2025, worldwide, there were 48,280 Earth caches to find. And like I said, that number continually grows, of course. As I was making this video, reviewers have already approved more, but we're going to focus on 2025. In the US, there's a total of 10,403, with 959 being written in 2025. In Canada, there's a total of 3,035, with 282 being written in 2025. Now, let's look at specific regions within the US first. First up is the Northeast. Now, for all of these charts, you'll see the order of the states is based on the year-over-year number of Earth caches written between 2024 and 2025. For example, for the Northeast, Pennsylvania had the highest change year over year, with 17 written in 2024 and 33 written in 2025. Maine came in strong this year, writing 10 compared to only 2 last year. Connecticut finally putting some numbers back on the board with 2. Great job to Siphon and Blues Note, although I would like to see some more native cachers writing some as well. As for Massachusetts, I'm not really sure what happened there. You know, there could have been an influx of maybe vacation caches in 2024. That kind of makes sense for such a massive drop year over year. Moving on to the South, Florida definitely led the way with 31 written. Perhaps not the most overall for a state in the South, but it was well above what they wrote in 2024 as well as in 2025. West Virginia also put up some really respectable numbers, doubling what was written in 2024. And I'm sure that hosting GeoWoodstock had nothing to do with that. And if you haven't heard, it looks like they'll be hosting a new annual event there. Most likely, I imagine it'll turn into a mega. They're calling it Cachemore. You can check it out by its cache listing of GCBEBMA. So let's see if they create some more new Earth caches for that event. Alabama also put up an impressive 20 new Earth caches, definitely bucking their trend. And I'm sure Bamarama had nothing to do with that as well. Speaking of Bamarama, I'll officially be teaching my EarthCache writing class there, so if you're in town, perhaps you'd like to check it out. For more information, you can go to that cache listing of GCB2R1R. Now, Arkansas. Look at those numbers, going from 1 in 2023 and 1 in 2024 to 8 last year. So shout out to all those folks, including MFS 911, who allowed me to support her efforts and hosted a remote EarthCache writing class last year. Hope to see more from that community in the future. I also absolutely love seeing that Mississippi has 2 new Earth caches after nearly 2 years of nothing. Great job out there to Siphon and to Team Conway. Same for Louisiana, another nearly 2-year stretch, and then Turtles 19 when it came along and created one. Now for Tennessee, they would have had a larger decline, but Northwing 65 attended my class in mid-November, and in just merely the last 6 weeks, he's earned his Platinum EarthCache status. Congrats to him on that. It's always gratifying to see the information that I'm putting out there being put to work. Now, for South Carolina, last year, South Carolina was at the top of this list. Now, I know Scoutmaster was crushing it at the end of 2024. Many of those 20 that you see there were his. And of the 5 in 2025, he also wrote 3 of those. Looks like I need to go out there and maybe go teach the class somewhere or potentially go create some myself. Looking at the Midwest, Michigan, what is going on? You go from 22 last year to 104 this year. Did I miss some contest for who can write the most? Obviously, that also extended down to Ohio as well. 1 was written in 2023, which went to 30 in 2024, but now 99. Some folks down there are seriously just crushing it. Like Cincy Chewbacca writing nearly 60 of those 99. I'm sure you're going to hear his name later on in this video. Indiana also had a strong year, a clear uptrend with folks like DLinst84 writing nearly half of that 17. He's another cacher that has allowed me to support some of his efforts last year. I love that South Dakota also put some numbers back up on the board after nearly a 2-year drought. Great job to Team Conway and Pintail 11. Now, Kansas, with GeoWoodstock being hosted there in 2026, I sort of expect that there's going to be some sort of increase. We'll see. And as I was taking a look at these numbers, I found one that is kind of interesting for everybody to go check out. The cache code is GCBGPVA. The title is CSI Creek Scene Investigation, written by Los Vagabundos. What a really innovative way to lay out an EarthCache. As they show, there's no set format for an EarthCache. It's okay to have fun with it. North Dakota, I do hope their numbers will be higher next year. I'm teaching my remote class to a bunch of them later on this month. The same with Wisconsin. I'm already locked on there to teach my class remotely there as well. Now let's continue to head westward. So I'm not sure if that contest in the Midwest continued out to California, but wow. There was 42, writing 42 or 38 in a year is pretty good, but 197? Now what probably motivated those folks out there like Chet13, who wrote 70, and Blues Note, who wrote 30, was the fact that the purge just decimated their numbers. Last year at this time, they had 1,183. So this gives you some sense of how many were lost. That despite writing 197, their total number of EarthCaches only increased by 23. Okay, Colorado and Nevada, they also had some solid increases, but then we start going into the negative numbers, which feels really kind of surprising for some reason. Utah. Now, if you want another example of just a really different way of formatting an EarthCache, check out What's the Point of the Mountain? The GC code is GCB3GFB, written by Rock Q, which was only his second EarthCache published. I truly hope he continues being innovative and that innovative trend catches on elsewhere throughout the country. Now, New Mexico unfortunately had no new ones this year, and Idaho was the same. And in fact, Idaho had the distinction of being the only state that lost an EarthCache as well. Last year, they were at 113. Okay, now let's look outside the contiguous states and some U.S. territories. Like other places, Hawaii had an amazing year. It looks like Matthew Cat took either a 2-week vacation out there or maybe he had to go out there for a work trip, but he was responsible for 26 of the 41 written, so over half. I'm also not overly surprised with either Guam or Puerto Rico either. Hopefully we'll have some forward momentum next year. And I wonder if Matthew Cat can go visit either one of those locations in 2026. Now let's check on our neighbors to the north. I guess the bug that hit the Midwest also spread up to Ontario. While 45 and 43 a year are actually pretty respectable in my book, but a whopping 120 last year? That is the second highest total just after California for any state or province in North America. And leading the way for this huge increase was Pasha88, writing a phenomenal 70 EarthCaches for her province. And yes, we're finishing up the Ontario deep dive video. That should be out soon. Close on the backs or the heels of Ontario, British Columbia also cranked out 52 new EarthCaches. From 12 to 52 is definitely a good increase. Yukon. After almost 3 years, we finally have some new EarthCaches in the Yukon territory. Kudos to Entogeek and our Canada 110. I didn't help him with any of these Yukon EarthCaches, but I've worked with him before. Now on to the Northwest Territories. They seem to be holding steady. At least we didn't lose any. Even Nunavut, way up there in the north, had one published. Amazing. Saskatchewan, now back in 2023, only had 2, but it's been on fire for the last 2 years, with EcoNature creating all but 1 last year. So I think we need to see if we can either get EcoNature or our Canada 110 over to the Northwest Territories, or perhaps create a few. So now you've seen all the numbers. Now let's look at some of the folks that made those numbers possible. Based off data from Project GC, not a sponsor, the #1 top creator in the US goes to Sensi Chewbacca at 89. And that guy's like Johnny Appleseed. He's just creating EarthCaches all over the country. This is not his first time on this list. Last year, he held the #8 spot. The #2 goes to Chet13, his huge contribution out in California. And I did a little digging. He never created an EarthCache before 2025. And now he has them in California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Hawaii, Iceland, and the UK. I have a feeling that we'll be seeing him on this list again next year. Now, the #3 spot goes to Siphon. He's a friend of the channel and someone that just creates EarthCaches everywhere he goes. He's a super prolific EarthCache creator. He held the #3 position on this list last year as well. #4 went to Matthew Cat. Again, like every other name on this list, he just creates EarthCaches everywhere he visits. This is not his first time on this list as well. Last year, he held the #1 position. #5, Team Conway was #2 on the list last year, but created nearly double the amount that they did this year. So for all those, super good job. Now, rounding out the top 10, you've got Team Mekonzi AIE at #6, first time on the list with 42. You've got Blues Note at #7, up from #10 last year. You've got Pasha 88 holding #8, and the same as last year with 32 written this year in the US. And Buckeye Casher 111, his first time on the list at #9. And another friend of the channel, Osnap at #10, and not his first time on this top 10 list as well. On a personal note, I'm very proud of the fact that I tied for the number 110 position along with a lot of other cachers. Now let's go back up north to see the top creators in Canada for this year. Pasha 88, this is her first time on the list, coming in at an undeniable 76 EarthCaches created. She's the only Canadian, and really the only person, to make it on both the USA and the Canadian top creator list. So, well done. Bugfinders held the #2 spot at 26, and making his second appearance on this list, and more than doubling what he created last year. EcoNature holding steady in 3rd place, same as last year, and it looks like we have a tie for 4th place with Lulu Solil and Deanna Jean 674, both making the list for the first time. And rounding out this list is my friend Arcana 110, again creating caches where there hasn't been any for some time, and I know he has plans for more in the future. Now in 2024, there were 4 states that had no increase in EarthCaches. In 2025, there were only 2. And to me, that seems a pretty good improvement. But I think we can do better. And with that in mind, I'm reaching out and offering an open invitation, if you will, to anyone in the following states: Mississippi, South Carolina, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Montana, Wyoming, New Mexico, or Idaho. I'm looking for local geocaching groups in those locations that are interested in hosting my EarthCache remote writing class. In addition to teaching in person at Bamarama, GeoWoodstock, and Fall Fest, I also taught the class remotely 3 times in 2025, including to a group in Australia. So I'm beyond the "I wonder if this could work" stage. And again, I've already locked on classes to teach remotely in Wisconsin and North Dakota. Okay, well, what if I don't live in one of those states? Or what can I do it more than one time in those states? Of course, if you have a group, I'm more than happy to coordinate a class at any location. I'm just going to try to be a little bit more aggressive in those states. Well, what about outside the US? If you live in Canada, great, no problem. Australia, I've done it. With the technology today, I think the only real barrier to teaching this class is really just the language barrier. So what's the cost involved? That always comes up for some reason. There's no cost. I do this for the community. I just need to partner with someone at the other end logistically. Have them find a classroom, ensuring everything on the audio visual works on that end, and then setting up an event page. So if you're interested, reach out and we'll put something on the books. With that, I hope your 2026 is filled with many EarthCaches, and if this is your year to create one, you can do it. And I have a number of resources for you if needed. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.